Y'all already know what's going on. Attitude Era Podcast. We are back with another episode of Double Up, and this might be the toughest double up that we have recorded. I need everybody that's in here. Please subscribe to the Attitude Era Podcast now if you haven't already. We reached our milestone 10,000 subscribers and counting. Hit that notification button, hit that like button, hit that share button. Subscribe to the Attitude Era Podcast right now. It's Hulk Hogan, red and yellow, versus Hollywood Hogan. And if y'all don't know how we operate on Double Up, it's real simple. We take two characters from two different brands, WCW, WWF at the time, now WWE. We do the pros and cons with each character, and then we come to a decision on which character was better, and we hang their jersey up in the Double Up Raptors. And this might be the toughest decision we are ever going to make on Double Up. Hulk Hogan, red and yellow. Versus Hulk Hogan, black and white.
I got a question. What you gonna do when you know what I mean? You gotta hit one of those. You gotta hit one of those.
Listen, brother, what you gonna do when DNA runs wild on you, brother?
So what happens is we take 1 minute, we talk about the pros of the character. 1 minute, talk about the cons of the character. Then we switch to the other company, pros, cons. Then we take a vote at the end, and we get it right. We might get it wrong. You think we got it right, got it wrong? Comment, let us know. But we not gonna wait.
But in this situation, what's unique is this both characters was in both companies.
That's the thing.
Yeah, this is.
So you got to go with both runs.
So DNA pros of the red and the yellow Hulk Hogan. You on the clock and go.
The pros of the red and yellow Hulk Hogan is simple, man. One of the person that defined wrestling. They know wrestling because of each of vitamins. What you want to do when Hulkamania runs wild on you. This is the icon of wrestling. In that red and in that yellow. This guy still to this day, Roman Reigns came close. He has the longest title run in the WWE till this day. It's the same man that body slammed Andre the Giant, the same guy that revolutionized wrestling, an icon, transcended it, took it to different levels, movies, television shows, talk shows, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, man of few moves but impactful, leg drop, iconic, the ear, iconic, red and yellow, Hulk Hogan, red and yellow, you know what I mean? What else could you not say about him when it comes to wrestling?
Boom. Man, this is gonna be a doozy. HP, you got me?
Yes, sir. Ready and go.
Bo Jackson, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman. When I was a kid, Mike Tyson. These was names I heard. And you know who name was right in the midst of these athletes? Hulk Hogan, No Holds Barred, Rocky 3, Three Ninjas, Thunder in Paradise. In front of the camera, Hulk Hogan was money. And in the ring, he could wrestle. He was in the AWA, WWF. A lot of people don't know this. He was the inaugural first IWGP heavyweight champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, man, a few moves, but Hogan can really get it in because can't anybody just go to New Japan and wrestle. He had big moments. We'll be here all night talking about these moments. If you're watching this show, you already know what Hulk Hogan did for the business, who he was in the business. He had me saying my prayers and eating my vitamins, and I thought I was going to have some pythons one day. Kind of missed. But Hogan was everywhere and everything in wrestling. Wow. HP?
Yes.
And go.
We're talking about the icon, right? 6-time world champion in WWF. With that, he's the first 2-time Royal Rumble winner. With that being said, So he headlines 8 of the first 9 WrestleManias. Let me run that down for you. WrestleMania 1, it's him and Mr. T taking on Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Then you got him versus King Kong Bundy. Then you got him versus Andre the Giant. Then you got the WrestleMania tournament. He does not headline, but they're still giving Andre the Giant versus him in the quarterfinals as the main event. Then you got WrestleMania 5, the Mega Powers explode. You got him versus Macho Man. Then you got WrestleMania 6, him versus the Ultimate Warrior. Oh, the first title for title matchup. It was huge. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gotta say all that. After that, we get started versus WrestleMania 7. Then after WrestleMania 8, we get him versus Sid Vicious. Then WrestleMania 9, he gets an impromptu match versus Yokozuna. Then he comes back for WrestleMania 18 versus The Rock and an Icon versus Icon. Yo, the man was in Thunder in Paradise. Oh, what?
But HP, that was Hollywood Hogan.
Oh,
he was moving. We're gonna give you grace on that because you definitely sound like the Micro Machines man.
Yeah, I had to go. So, I'm like, yo,
had to get it in because this might be the first double up. We might have to come back because this is crazy, and I know people in the comments gonna go crazy. So y'all let us know while we slide into the cons of the red and yellow Hulk Hogan DNA. It's on you.
The cons, it's not too many, but one thing I will say is if you're the hero for too long, you turn into the villain. At some point when the world changed and people wanted different things and we got into what we seen, the Nitro era that led to the Attitude Era, that was the attitude of not just wrestling, of the world. And they didn't want the guy telling them to eat vitamins no more. And Hulk Hogan got very stale in WCW where he got booed and it just didn't hit the same. It did not hit the same. And I actually don't really like the red and yellow in WCW at all. I don't even like it when he came back after the NWO in WCW. I only like red and yellow in WWF the first time and after the Rock match. So, yeah, that's it. The character got stale. Good night.
What time? Ready?
Absolutely. And go.
In ring, around the world, not laws, not many stripes on the Hulk Hogan red and yellow character. Outside the ring, Terry, it's a different story. But that's it. It's not many flaws on the career. Like I said, sometimes DNA hit it on the head. Sometimes things get stale and you gotta hit the refresh button. And unfortunately, that it wasn't really a refresh. Then we get to learn things about people outside of the allegedly outside of in their real life. Then that kind of affects the way you view things too. But that's part of the growing into the new era, the new age. We in the start of the internet and blogs, and it was sometimes people's job to tear people down. People, your heroes. But like I said, in the ring, the character work, the red and yellow. I mean, he was everything to everybody at some point, and I'm gonna touch on that in the next pros in the WCW. HP and go.
So cons, they've said it. It's not a lot of con work, but what I'm gonna put on is Hogan was never at any point a mid-tier guy, meaning he never won any mid-tier titles or do anything to elevate those titles. What he did do in 2002 on his comeback to WWE at this point now is the tag team titles with Edge, and he had them for like 3 weeks, but he wasn't really touching other titles unless there were world titles. And that's a thing. And then also part of his going away issue was his staleness. WWF was looking at getting smaller because they got the steroid scandal going down in '93. And unfortunately, because they were looking at the history of WWF, Hogan was the front man. So who are you looking at? You're looking at Hulk Hogan. So it's not good as the company's looking to get smaller and get different type of athletes. So looking at the Bret Harts or Shawn Michaels, things like that. Hogan is on kind of like the outskirts. So he goes on WCW, and it's trying to figure out a new persona there as well.
All right. The red, the yellow, turn to the black and white. DNA, kick it off with the pros of Hollywood Hulk Hogan in WCW. Go.
Listen, pros of Hollywood. The pros of Hollywood Hogan is real simple. The greatest heel turn in the history of professional wrestling. Not just in WCW, not just in WWF, not ECW, not TNA, in wrestling. And then on top of that biggest heel turn, he has created, in my opinion, the greatest faction in wrestling and the forefront of it. This man dyed his hair black, spray painted a belt. You know what I mean? Just revolutionized what you look at as having a group in wrestling and made such an impact. And he had title reigns with this Hollywood Hogan character. And then he went to another company and put on one of the greatest matches in his career versus The Rock at WrestleMania 18 as Hollywood Hogan. So it's not too much more to say. One of the greatest.
Ooh. All right. HP.
Ready?
Yeah.
And go.
Hollywood Hogan changed the game. It was incredible to see, and it was something I didn't think I would ever see as a kid. Because even though the red and yellow may have gotten a little old, it was still the red and yellow. And the thing about Hulk Hogan in both of these companies, if you're 30 plus, maybe even 25, he was a part of your childhood at some point. When he was the red and yellow WWF, he was part of your childhood if you're 40 plus. The NWO black and white, he was part of your childhood if you're 30 and up. And it's a big gap, but at some point, this man was a part of your childhood in these companies he's worked for, and he did good work in WCW. And I enjoyed the Hogan in WCW. Then when he hooked up with Dennis Rodman and NWO was turning up, it was just incredible to see, and something I didn't think I would see. I never thought I would see the crowd turn on him, fill the ring with trash, and he changed the game and ultimately bet on himself, because that was a risk that could have not worked.
Definitely a risk that could have not worked. Yes.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan comes into the company to resurrect WCW, because at this time they are the legitimate little brother to the WWE, WWF, and what a resurrection. Now, it doesn't start off that way, because when he's an 8-time world champion over there, he gets his one title reign over there with the red and yellow. After that, it's all black and white. My man is on a tangent and he's on a run, and he wins titles, beating the Giant, Ric Flair, Sting, Macho Man. He's always beating Macho Man for something. Jeff Jarrett, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Nash. During his time in WCW, there were 78 pay-per-views. He headlined 34 of them. He was the guy, the focal point. So it's not like his career was done. Boom, he gets a turn up. And again, the NWO faction. It doesn't go off as crazy until he joins, flips it, and turns on everybody. You fans can stick it, brother. Iconic.
Icon living. All right. DNA cons is on you. Go.
I feel like what's crazy is both sides of the character have the same cons. This character just went on for much great success with it, but they did not know when to pull the plug and even add new layers to the character, or maybe go back to red and yellow sooner after they got NWO. Just had 6 different variations of the group. They just had them doing silly stuff. And as great as this character is still the person that infamously has something to do with the finger poke of doom, which is one of the worst moments in the history of wrestling. So yes, black and white Hulk Hogan has a lot of great moments, but if you look at those later years with the character and then joining the Wolf Pack after leaving it, and it just, the later years of the NWO. Good night.
Good night. All right.
Ready? And go.
It never really evolved from the red and yellow, because even when he first stepped into the WCW, Hall and Nash was on record saying when they cut their first promo, Hogan was doing it the old school style. he was, and they stopped him and said, hey, we're gonna do this guerrilla style, black and white, one shot like we taking over. Because Hogan was still Hogan. Even though he was black and white, he was still yellow and red. And that had to take time to evolve. And eventually when he did, we start seeing the spray paint on the tights, the lightning. But it took a while to get to that point. And again, he was part and maybe the reason for some real bad decisions. And ultimately, in the end, it just started looking real crazy. Like the glasses, the bandana, it went off the rails. Because again, if you don't hit that refresh button, it gets stale. Then you start trying to do all these wild antics and things. And that's like the only stain on the jacket. But either way, it worked. And like I said, it just got a little weird at the end. HP, go.
So we talked about Hulk Hogan, but a lot of times we got to talk about these contracts, right? Hulk Hogan had a very good contract, but here's the things that like I had to look up and see. He was getting $500,000 or more because the first number I saw was 600,000 per pay per view, in addition to salary. So why do I bring that up? He's well worth it. Obviously, it leads to the demise financially of WCW. It's one of the things because it's not just his contract, but again, when you're out for this, the creative control, right? We're not bringing up new people, and the creative control becomes such a problem that at one point we get the finger poke of doom. Kevin Nash had ended the streak of Goldberg. That should have been a natural rematch. However, Hulk Hogan all of a sudden comes back and he wants the title, and there's nothing no one could do about it. The match was just boom. So these things added up bring stains to the jacket of a man who was world renowned and loved. So I can't. He didn't get nobody over.
He never worked from the middle or worked down. Like I said,
No.
You said it earlier. He came in at the top, and he was pretty much top tier his whole career. DNA, time to take a vote.
Yeah, when y'all saying that though, I think y'all more so going to the person than the character, but I get it.
Is it a difference?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like
either way, we got to vote. And
I definitely want to hear this though. I hope this comes out here to this part right here.
We got the red and yellow Hulk Hogan versus the black and white Hulk Hogan. We gotta hang a jersey. DNA. Who are you putting in the Double Up Attitude Era podcast rafters?
Oh my God, man. All right. First of all, I feel like whatever decision is being made, even from the viewers at home, is preference. Both of these characters, I feel like this is the most even both characters are probably ever going to be decorated when we do this. We're always going to, I feel like with every other character, we're going to find, because right, he has a great run in WWF to kick it off in red and yellow, right? He has a great run in WCW as black and white. Then he has another great run in WWF with black and white, even though that was only like 4 months, but it still went to the match of him and The Rock, which is top 10 matches in WWE. And then when he turns back to red and yellow, he has another good run. So he has good runs 2 times. For me, I'm going with red and yellow, man. It's the original. It's the original. You don't get black and white if you don't get red and yellow, and red and yellow transcended wrestling. You know what I mean? The second character is very impactful and great, but it's a change after the character stopped working. But that character already had a 12-year span of changing kids' lives, making so much money, carried the company on his back, the WrestleMania appearances, the longest title run comes when he is Hulkamaniac, the lifting Andre the Giant, the selling merchandise, getting kids engaged with it, basically becoming a role model. That is red and yellow. He was so much of an icon and a role model for people. They were nervous. People weren't going to like the heel turn because of how much impact he had on pop culture. Red and yellow.
Easily one of the most recognizable people in the world. Easily one of the most famous people in the world, and probably at one time was the most famous person walking this earth. That was the red and yellow Hulk Hogan. DNA said it all. I have to go with the red and yellow. It's iconic. It's timeless. It still has life till this day. NWO Black and White Hollywood Hogan was incredible. I don't think it could have worked out any better. But that was a moment. This red and yellow thing has been going on for decades, and it's crossed timelines. Like I said, Hulk Hogan is a part of, if you 30 and up, he's a part of your childhood. Wherever you were a child at, he was a part of that some kind of way. He made wrestling what it is today. Love him, hate him, how you feel about him personally, that's your thing. But in that ring, on them books, when the money was coming in, Hogan was an icon. He was a role model. He's a legend. And I got to go with the red and yellow. Terrible impersonation, but I'm going with red and yellow Hulk Hogan.
Well, a couple things that as y'all saw my pros on Hulk Hogan, I had to speed through. But there were certain things that he was able to do that are so unnoticed that need to get praised too. One, he is the last and the first. He is the last WWF champion, and he is also the first WWE champion. His 2002 world title run is when the company shifts from WWF to WWE. And there's an iconic moment on SmackDown, him holding that title. And it's the last time you'll see the WWF like logo and everything there. And then, so with that being said, because it was an undisputed title, he is the last and first WCW champion in that same. That's what made it undisputed, because it was both titles, and it becomes the world heavyweight title. So I put that out there to say because he brought in Rock and Sock. I'm so sorry, Rock and Wrestling Connection. So if you were from the 80s, about 85, 86, 87, you probably remember this cartoon and Junkyard Dog and all this stuff. So like Hulk Hogan is immensely crazy. However, he goes to WCW and puts a company on his back, knowing they're the little brother, and leads a charge to defeat Vince McMahon for over 83 weeks straight. But even though that company was subdued and it went down, at one point it wasn't looking that way. And Hogan was the forefront of that. So it can't, that black and white, even when he came back as a black and white, he goes against The Rock. It's one of the biggest matches. WrestleMania 18, you barely remember who was on that card other than Rock and Hogan. They were billed as one of the main events, but let's be clear. Here in 2024, we talking about Rock and Hogan. What was the other main event? You know what I mean? Like, it's that iconic. So even though we want to usually do WCW versus WWF characters, he takes both characters into both companies and makes this very hard. However, I was a kid in the 80s, and I remember that Ultimate Warrior title for title and the Mega Powers.
Jerry.
Oh, my bad.
Where we going?
He going down memory lane.
Yeah, I feel like it's unfair a little bit.
You got a soft spot in your heart for Hulk Hogan, man.
I gotta go with Hogan. Red and yellow, 1,474 days as the world champion.
He's wrestling. He's pop culture. He's entertainment. He's Hulk Hogan, bro.
He's also the launching pad for WWF to become what they are today. Because those first 9 WrestleManias he's headlining, if he fails.
There you have it, man. Red and yellow's jersey is getting hung to the Raptors.
Clean sweep, 3-0.
Comment below if y'all think we got it wrong. Let us know how y'all feel. Red and yellow Hulk Hogan versus black and white Hulk Hogan. Which character do y'all think is better? And also, if you want to see all the episodes early of Double Up and plus more content, subscribe to our Patreon right now. Patreon.com/Attitude Era Podcast. You get all of the access early to all Double Up episodes, all the wrestling interviews we do. So the Godfather, D'Lo Brown bonus episode is up there. We got a song with Jacob Fatu that is up there. Me and Z the Dropout, a song with Jacob Fatu. Go check that out. We have a cipher with AJ Francis, Top Dollar, Max Caster, DNA, Mega Ray, all on the Patreon, and all these double up episodes early. So subscribe to the Patreon now. Hit the notifications. Subscribe here. And stay tuned, man. Episode 6. We loaded. Double up.
Say your prayers. Take your vitamins.